All right, guys. Today is April 5th, 2026, coming at you. Happy Easter if you celebrate it, of course. But today is Sunday, April 5th, 2026, coming at you for the next live stream for the next hour. And yeah, so we're excited. We made it to April. We got UConn versus Michigan in the championship game on Monday. And hopefully you're doing well. It's always nice to talk to you guys and to make it through another week. Hopefully you're doing well. It's been, as you reflect on the year, the first quarter of the year is over, the first 3 months. So where are we at, guys? How are we doing? Are you excited for any shows, movies that are coming out or have come out? We have The Boys Season 5 starts this Wednesday. The 8th, I believe, is the date. Yep, Wednesday the 8th. So, yeah, I'm excited to talk about some different shows, movies, anything like that. Some different stuff we're watching. What's up, Big Tree? Tim, how are you? Happy Easter, like I said, if you celebrate it. But, so we're watching the Anaconda movie with Jack Black and Paul Rudd on Netflix. And it's stupid, and it's supposed to be stupid, and it's over the top. And actually, Paul Rudd is filming a movie here this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. He's going to be on St. Pete Beach at the Don Cesar. The movie is The Statement, and it's Paul Rudd, Paul Giamatti, and a couple other people in there. And so I don't know who else is going to be here, but they say that Paul Rudd will be filming here, so I'll have to check that out, because I do like it to be around different filming sites, especially in Florida, because, I'm right here. I live in Florida, and less movies are being filmed in Florida now because of all the tax breaks for other locations and states, especially Georgia, Louisiana, and etc. But it just stinks because I would have liked to been, because they used to film in Florida a decent amount, and it was kind of cool because you could get a lot of different things here. You could get the city, the beach, the atmosphere, just the vibe of it too, whether they're filming in Miami or Fort Lauderdale or Tampa or St. Pete or Clearwater or wherever, even Lakeland or whatever. They filmed a bunch of different movies around here. And then the other states were smart, and they were like, hey, come to our state. We can give you major tax breaks. And if you're talking about, it always comes down to money and saving the most money. Follow the money. That's where people are going to go. And the big thing is, that's why people left the state, and the state of Georgia is, and probably still is, or was, and is a big state for filming different, shows, movies, and they call it another area. Most recently was the Red Road that we watched. It was clearly filmed in Georgia, and it just has that vibe. Once you know different filming locations and you've been there, like if you've seen where they filmed the Marvel stuff, the movies, the shows, The Walking Dead, different series, you're driving around and you're like, that's definitely Georgia. Some of the woods, some of the areas, some of the trees, some of the neighborhoods, the back roads especially on there. So yeah, we're watching Anaconda on Netflix. Marshals is still, I think Marshals is just going to be what it is. It's not anything great. It's what it is, for going to be entertaining for the Casey Dutton show, NCIS Montana. And yeah, the Madison, finish up the 6 episodes. I think the Madison is definitely worth watching more than Marshals. I mean, they're different type of shows, but if you had to rank the two, I would rather watch the Madison than Marshals. And we're also watching this Born to Bowl. It's a documentary type series on HBO Max, and it's executive produced by Ben Stiller. And it's very interesting because I love documentaries and I love everything there too. Hey, Carol. So Destin, Florida. I'm guessing Destin is around the Panhandle. I know they have is that the area that has like a nice beach? That's where people go. I don't, yeah, I've never been there, but I feel like it's around there. But, that just reminds me of that. I've never, because there's a lot of little places in Florida, and I'm just not really familiar with much of the Panhandle for it. So, yeah, we're in April. It's The Boys is going to come back up. The From is going to be back in 2 weeks. So From is on April 19th, and there's a lot of people talking about, the colors now, right? So it's hilarious because when I talked about the red on The Walking Dead, people were like, oh, this is crazy, you're this, it's just a color, it doesn't make sense, blah, 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 that's dumb, that's stupid, whatever, right? Whether you believe in it or not. But now, all these different theories and all these different things on the show especially with the man in yellow, so the fact that the character is focused on a color, and repeatedly, there's blues and yellow and blue and yellow and yellow and blue and this and that. And so now people are having the theory colors that are coming from there as well. And it makes sense because of in the story. It doesn't always make sense in all the writing and all the shows and everything there too, but symbolism is symbolism, whether you like color symbolism or whatever. I mean, it's definitely there, and we'll have to see what happens with. There's a lot of theories going around as well, and I was like, I'm not going to just get into all that and make all these different videos about it there as well. I'm just going to enjoy it, watch the show for what it is in 2 weeks when it comes back, and hopefully we get some answers about the man in yellow, the boy in white, all the blue colors around there with Boyd's shirt and here, and it's just fine. It's fine. It's good. I believe in it, obviously, because I've talked about it time and time again. And some people won't, some people will, and I hopefully a lot of people are watching. We started The Pit season 2. We watched the first episode yesterday, and it's still good. It rolls right into new problems and Dr. Robbie this and that there too, and they have a new person going to take his spot and everything. So it's interesting to see how it goes down, and I'm excited to see what happens this season of the Pit, and maybe a third season if it's greenlit or not. But there's a lot of good stuff happening, good stuff, movies and shows. Yesterday I was watching, when I was ripping up the chicken from Sam's, I got to pick something up, and I was watching Ford versus Ferrari. And if you haven't seen that, it's a good movie. It stars Matt Damon, John Bernthal is a big part of it, and Christian Bale. And it's a good movie. It's a good story about the Ford Motor Company versus Ferrari in the 24 Hours of Le Mans race. And you get to see the story that I'm guessing is a true story about what happened with Ford versus Ferrari and what kind of developed Carroll Shelby into the Shelby own motor, his own cars and, everything with the Shelby Mustang and the Shelby Cobra and everything. So it's kind of cool to see, the story of it too. And it stars John Bernthal, I guess it stars Matt Damon, but John Bernthal is a very big part of that movie. And time again, more and more people are coming up from The Walking Dead, and it's always good to see that too. So, yeah, Tim, are you enjoying The Pit so far, season 2? I think it's good. Noah Wyle, it's just great. It just feels like we're involved with the drama of the hospital and the emergency room. And when you see people come back and they come there, it just feels like, I don't know, like an old friend, like an old shoe, like it's something that just fits, watching it. And that's what good shows do. Great shows do it time and time again for really the entire series. But good shows are able to do that and make you feel like you're in on the story. Yesterday we were having breakfast and we were watching, it was on going through the cable networks, and we were watching Aliens. So yes, I guess 2 days ago, Friday or whatever, I was watching Terminator 2, and it's just, still so good. Even though John Connor's whiny voice over and over and over again, when he's like, come on, come on, come on, like when he's pressing on the motorbike and the dirt bike and trying to go, it's just, oh, sorry, my throat after that. I can't even do it, right, without having a throat problem. So, and then we're watching Aliens, which is another James Cameron great movie. And it just works so well from Ripley and Newt and Hicks and Vasquez and Bishop, and it's just so good from start to finish. The movie is just so, and I really wish they, excuse me, I wish they went into that further with the Colonial Marines, and it was just good. It just works. Aliens was good, and on HBO they had Prometheus on, and just something about those movies were just not very good. It's okay. It's interesting because it connects the dots, but just the way they go on these tangents. In the Alien franchise and the Predator franchise, and then everything's a franchise now, which is fine. Everything makes sense too. So, Carol says, "Did you check out Easter Egg in Paradise?" I watched Paradise, and it was really good for the finale, but I'm not sure what you're referencing as the Easter egg, Carol. But it's Paradise is great. Like they just finished the second season, setting up the third season, and we thought characters were going to still be around, and they are. They'll be the villains for season 3. They set up some big and it's funny when people die on the show, they're never really dead because there's all these there's all these like pre-story before the story. You get to see this character again because they're talking and setting up the bunker and setting up the mountain and setting up the community and setting up here, and it was just kind of good. But it was great. I mean, the way everything happened and went down, setting up season 3. Now, I don't know how much longer they can really do the show because of, probably a third season makes sense to be the final season. Because, again, if it goes too long, you got to have that fine line of beginning, middle, and end. And 3 seasons is actually a good run. Beginning, middle, and end. First season, second season, third season is a perfect kind of arc. But if you go 4 or 5 or 6, we'll have to see. Like The Boys is going to be 5 seasons. But you could do so much with those superheroes and stuff and whatever. And, they could going on, even though I know they're going to have a Soldier Boy spinoff and they're going to have certain spinoffs. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan wants Jensen Ackles from Supernatural and The Boys and a bunch of things. He wants them to join the Walking Dead universe. And he's a good actor. I wouldn't be opposed to that. And I really hope if The Walking Dead just trails off and it's just like, then okay. But if it can not, I don't want to reboot, but if it can kind of go down a certain path, setting up things for Dead City, for the future of things, I think that'd be pretty cool. I wouldn't mind having that. And if you bring in some big actors, that's fine. And I would assume that if you worked with people before and you did well and you like them, you'll enjoy working with them again in another show. But we'll have to see. There's been a lot of talk. There was another trailer for Masters of the Universe, which looks amazing, by the way. That there's a lot of good movies coming out this year. I don't know how many movies I'm going to see in the movie theater, but it looks really good, for sure. Carol did get where Sinatra was saying that man needs a breath mint. Yeah, so it connects on the thing as that was the next person to be taken out. But yeah, it made sense on the show. Yeah, the breath mint connection. So that's the thing where they did a good job from start to finish, and everything kind of connects very well, and the writing is very good. And I hope that it's rewarding, and I hope it just ends well whenever it is, if it's season 3 or 4. But I like the where it is. It's worth watching for sure. There's a lot of good shows, like. I don't know, TV to me is just so much more rewarding than movies kind of are. I can't remember the last great movie that I watched, but I've watched some pretty good television shows. Like Paradise is really good. Like, Night of the Seven Kingdoms was pretty good. And so many things have been pretty good, Simba fan says, "Hey Brian, how do you honestly feel about the Super Mario Galaxy movie?" So I'm just gonna wait to watch that on streaming. To be honest, I don't know the next movie I'm actually gonna watch in the movie theater. It'll probably be if it's anything, it would be Avengers: Doomsday. That comes out in December. But I don't care to go to the movie theater anymore. Like if you wait long enough, It'll be on streaming. Daredevil season 2 is Born Again is pretty good. But yeah, I mean Super Mario Galaxy. I mean the first movie was good, and I grew up playing Mario. I grew up Super Mario Brothers, Nintendo, Super Nintendo. I didn't have a Nintendo 64, but my friends did. I didn't have a Wii, but my friends did. I went from Nintendo, Super Nintendo. I never had a Genesis, but I went like Sega Saturn. That was crazy. That was, they stopped doing that. That was kind of a bad way to go. And then PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, now 5. Never been an Xbox guy, but my favorite Mario character is Yoshi. And I'm glad he's in the movie. I'll watch it for sure. And I thought the first movie was good, but I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know if it's good or not, but I've heard mixed reviews about it too. And at the end of the day is I'm going to watch movies and shows, or I'm not going to watch them based on suggestions, whether people like them or not. It may steer me towards it, but sometimes I have no interest in something that, and now there's so much to watch. Like I started The Pit. There's a bunch of episodes to watch for me for that. I watched that bowling documentary on HBO Max. I'll be watching that. We watched Seven Little Johnstons. Watching that. We're gonna watch The Boys. Watching that. Watch Marshals. Even though I don't really like Marshals, I watch it. It's okay. It's worth watching. But then eventually From will be there, plus all the shows that I just said. From gets added to the fold, and then eventually House of the Dragon, whenever, the Walking Dead shows come back and stuff, and it's going to be a bunch of things for the rest of the year. Yeah, for sure, Carol. So yeah, when they flashed, because we knew when you watch like previously on, Paradise, when I don't know her name, when the therapist stabs Jane in the back, that's usually not a mortal wound from a stab in the back. And she was just laying there. And, it's the classic, like, okay, finish her off. Okay, get the gun. Okay, do this. Okay, it's like the classic horrible movie stuff. The horror franchises and horror stuff, they don't do that. And so Jane definitely got out. So, well, I don't want to give anything away too much if you haven't seen Paradise, but basically everybody got out except for one person. The people of significance got out, setting up, future shows. So, or the future, seasons of the show. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. We have March Madness coming to an end on Monday. We have the Masters coming up this weekend, which that's my favorite golf tournament around. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday next week is the Masters. It just sucks that Tiger did what Tiger got into a car accident and he's not going to play or be eligible to play in the Masters because he's going to get help for his substance abuse, whatever he's taking, or drinking, or pills, or medication, or whatever he's taking, whatever he's doing. It sucks, and he needs to be better. But from a fan of golf, it would be great to see him out there. Just like any fan of a sport, it's always good to see big names and big players and the best of the best being out there. But the Masters is awesome whether you like golf or not, and it's just a good thing to watch. Haven't gone there, but had a chance to go there to see the practice round in 2020, but COVID ruined that, and we were going to go, and it would be awesome. And I don't know, it might be one of those things that we never get a chance to go, and so I'm going to talk to my dad about it to see if there's something down the road to get, to try and do it. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But that's the Tiger. Yeah, I know Tiger. Well, Tiger, he's under the influence, Not a good look. And it's a shame because Tiger Woods is a huge name. He's one of the biggest names in sports history, for sure. So, yeah, what are you guys watching? How are you doing? Are you doing anything for Easter today? Are you having friends over, family over? Are you going somewhere? Are you doing anything? Are you cooking? My wife and I will just be here at the house having I don't know, we're probably gonna make pasta and have some chicken and a couple things, nothing big. And then I got, so a book update, Fight for Us 2, the second book. I started chapter 14 today. So it's coming along very well, and I'm not sure if it's going to be 16 or 18 chapters, but I'm excited. I've been writing a lot more, especially when we're getting closer to the end and setting up some major things to turn down the franchise of Fight for Us 2. So it's interesting, and we'll have to see where it goes. But yeah, I started. I'm on like a couple pages of chapter 14 this morning. And you got to strike while the iron's hot, man. You got to do it when you have the time. But when you don't have the time, you get a notebook and you write stuff down. Because memories and ideas and experiences and everything come like that, and then they go away because when new stuff happens, there's stuff to do, like take care of the house or your health or your wealth or your this or your that or your job or your family or whatever. But then you can go back to that notebook and have that as a reminder. Also, like I always tell my dad this, write it down. Have a notebook or a pad and paper or something. Pen and pad and something. And when you think of something, write it down. Because stuff gets in the way and you don't think about it. Oh, I do this, And if it's important enough, you'll take care of it. But again, what if it involves another person? Friend, family member, neighbor, whatever. Write it down. The digital revolution of things, we're getting away from basic thinking sometimes. And nothing's going to be better than a marble composition notebook or a legal pad, and it's all right there, especially ideas or whatever, for whatever it is. Whether it's a list, a honey-do list or whatever, or hopefully a bucket list. Like, I don't know how old everybody is that's watching this, but I do think a bucket list is something that we all should have. And maybe you don't get it all, and that's fine. But you'll have ideas about there too. Like, where was that place I wanted to go? Oh, yeah, that place in Tennessee. What was that? And then you check the list, and you're like, oh, yeah, Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge or Dollywood or whatever it is, And you're like, oh, yeah. And it's kind of cool to see the ability to do that and to have, the remembering of that and to have a list and what it is too. So. Simba says, I wonder if Seven never died, if Dog would have been in the Darrow show. Yeah, I don't know. Because it's got to be tough to work with animals on shows. A dog is probably one of the easiest, a cat, whatever, But it's not easy to have that in a show. And again, it's not real life. It's a dog has to go with Carol to protect her, and then how does she take care of it? Does she have a car? Does she have this? Does she have a motorcycle with a sidecar? Is dog able to But I don't know. Yeah, that's good, Tim. And then if you're writing stuff down, then you can accomplish things, or remember to do something. And as we get older, things are going to be harder to remember. It just are. We're all going to get dementia at some aspect of our lives. It's a part of aging. But everybody thinks of dementia as Alzheimer's. That is a form of dementia. That is not dementia. Dementia is part of life. It's part of having trouble remembering or remembering processing and having your ability to have your thought process. And that's okay. But hopefully as we age, we can get better and think about things and whatever, but make things easier for us. I hate to say my fear. Well, it's a thought that I'm like AI and technology and everything that's on a phone and everything, it's making us so reliant on it that people won't be able to function without it. I'm the same way. I have a computer and a tablet and a phone and this, and I have a work computer that I do my notes on, and when it's not working right, the world is ending. When we lose internet, the world is ending. I can't do my notes. It's just not right. And it's a part of everything we can't put it back in the box. And some things are great. Some things are annoying. Some things are, frustrating. But it's the way it is. And, I love streaming. Like, I'm a streaming person. Netflix, Amazon, whatever. And I'm excited to be able to watch everything at home. That's why going to the movies is a last priority to me, because we said it before, and everybody in here probably is the same way, that remember the days when you had to go somewhere or you had to be ready to watch something at a certain day or time? Because that's when it came on. And you could record it with a tape and a VCR. Or you could record it on a TiVo, and now you can record it on, your cable box, or you can watch it on demand. And watching it at your leisure at different times really works for so many things, because it's just really nice to be able to, I don't watch anything the day it actually airs. I don't really watch anything that's there. If I watch it on streaming, it's available on Paramount Plus. A lot of that stuff is available, when it gets put up online, that morning of. So we watch it that day or the next day. The Boys is probably going to be the class. And I love when people on Facebook, they say, and Netflix is really the only one that puts up all the episodes at once. And now they're getting smart to not do that. Stranger Things, the last season, they didn't put all the episodes up. They put it in sections, and they're breaking it up a little bit. The first part, second part, whatever. But Paramount Plus, they put up an episode or two. Amazon, same way. Netflix, sometimes, I don't know what they're actually going to do for the planning of everything, but Hulu is usually one episode at a time. On-demand stuff is on at one episode at a time on cable, and so we're spoiled. Right, we're spoiled with one episode at a time, because Netflix started this whole thing where they put up all the episodes, and now they're like, I have to wait, because we have to wait. And I was guilty of that too. We used to have to wait every week, and then Netflix changed the game, didn't have to do that. They put all the episodes, all 10 episodes are up. Boom, we can watch it all right now. And then somebody binge watches it, goes on social media and says, I can't believe this happened. I can't believe they did this. I can't believe that. And you're like, shut up, moron. Nobody watched it. So, it is what it is. And, we get what we get. We don't get upset. But streaming is pretty awesome too, so. Simba says, I wonder how The Walking Dead would have been if Frank never got fired. Yeah, there's a bunch of questions of what if. What if Frank Darabont never left in season 2? What if John Bernthal never left the show? What if they deviated from the comic in major ways? What if they did things? If the show was on HBO instead of AMC? What if they never killed Glenn? What if they only killed Abraham? What if they just killed Glenn and not Abraham? What if they didn't kill anybody? What if Negan, whatever. It's so many different crazy things. But, Frank Darabont was great. I like a lot of Frank Darabont stuff. And I just like James Cameron and certain people, they just make movies that work and just make sense. And it's just something that Frank Darabont did a lot of great things for The Walking Dead, and without him, it probably would have never been made. For sure, and season 7 was the downfall of The Walking Dead. It just was. And it's crazy to think that it took 6 seasons of pretty good show. Some shows don't even get past that. A lot of shows only get to 4, 5, or 6 seasons. The Walking Dead got 11 seasons out of it too, so. It's a good one. Yep, Titanic is a good one. And I hope there's going to be future directors and writers and actors that can continue on with everything. Athletes are bigger, faster, stronger. They're breaking records setting records, running faster, doing everything in really all sports. And eventually peak the human physique and human, athleticism is going to reach a certain ability. But that's still going to be, because the unknown is the unknown. Can you hit a ball? Yeah. Can you miss a ball? Yeah. Can you strike out? Can you hit a home run? Can you hit a grand slam? Can you make great plays? For sure. But movies are endless because of CGI and technology and writing, and sky's the limit, especially in like science fiction stuff. But I just hope there are people there's certain people, especially in the entertainment industry, that set the standard of things and set the higher part of excellence, set such a level of it too. And for a while there, like, there was only so many, there's a lot of good filmmakers now, but James Cameron is up there, Steven Spielberg's up there. There's like Sylvester Stallone has been involved with a lot of things, and Taylor Sheridan is probably the next big up and coming guy for this and that and certain stories. And I'd said it before, it's going to be a sad day when we start losing people. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, or Sylvester Stallone, or Bruce Willis is done acting, and Steven Spielberg eventually stopped making movies, and James Cameron will eventually stop making movies. So I appreciate it. I'm all over. Aminal. So it's like, I don't remember how to say your name. Aminal Lover. Simba fan says, sure, I do obsess over certain stuff, mainly in my car, but I merely take my mind off this awful world. Yeah. So I mean, you need that's another thing where you need an escape of things, right? Like, we don't need everything to be so realistic that we don't have an escape for reality. And that's, is that why people like movies? Is that why people like books? Is that why people like that too? I don't know if that's the reason, but it's a reason where people like escapism. People like the ability to go into this world of Star Wars or Star Trek or Harry Potter or Marvel or whatever, DC, Batman, Superman, whatever it is, right? Like, there's been a lot of stories of some kid liked comic books because he couldn't do the things that the comic book character could do. He was either small, weak, sick, whatever. And the superhero was his escape in that world. And it's great. I think we all need that too, and it's crazy. But, I mean, the world we live in is what we make it. We're each involved with that. But it just feels like the majority of people don't care about anybody else. And I don't know if it's been that way, because when I was younger, you're naive to the fact of the world, right? You're naive to things. And there's a part of it that ignorance is bliss. Not knowing certain things is blissful. You don't have to worry about things. When you're younger, you're not worried about paying the bills, getting a job. You're worried about going to school, playing sports, taking care of your pets or whatever you're doing, having fun, seeing your friends, being off from school, going on vacations. Like that was like the biggest time. Especially like Easter. Like right now, today is Easter Sunday, and happy Easter, everybody. But remember when you were little, and hopefully you had a good experience with it, but remember when you were little and you had an Easter egg hunt? Or you can go around and get different things. And now there's nothing for adults, like there probably is. I mean, I always thought there was two things that I thought was a good idea. An adult Easter egg hunt that had like bigger eggs that would have like money in them, gift cards in them, or alcohol or something, like adult stuff, or an adult summer camp where you would go there for like a week or a couple weeks and you would get away from the world for a little bit. Because I was thinking about this the other day, right? So I went to school in New Jersey, and it was kindergarten through 5th grade was elementary school. A different school was 6th, 7th, and 8th through my middle school, and high school was 9th through 12th. And then I went away to college. And then every summer I would come home and a semester and come home and a semester, come home. And I was like, it was great. And then I went home for like a year and then went to grad school. And I was in school for all those years. And you had breaks all the time. You went to different things all the time. Like you had a spring break and a winter break and a summer break. When you're older and you start working, like you go to college and you start in August or whenever, August or September, whatever. You go there, you have time off, Thanksgiving break, a couple weeks, winter break, go home, spring break, summer break, rinse and repeat for 4 years. And then you start working and you get a job. And now, unless you're a teacher or you have a job that has designated breaks or time off, you don't get time off anymore. So you do all that thing from when you're a little kid to 18, then you go to college. So when you're probably done, maybe you're like 22. Maybe if you go to grad school, you're like 25, 26. If you're going to be a doctor, maybe you're like 30. Late 20s, early 30s. So just say, simple math, just say for 25 years, right? 25 years, and then you don't get time off again until you retire for 40. So you work for 40 years, unless you're a teacher, you have that, but that's not everybody. So you're a kid for 25 years with schooling, and then you work for 40 years, and then you retire at 65, and hopefully you have another good 20 years or so left. That's just crazy, right? And we have to do it because we have bills, we have mortgages, we have rent, we have loans, we have money, we have debt, we have credit cards, we have whatever, cost of life, cost of living. And we have to have an escape. We have to have the shows and the movies and the books and the this. And you know what really works? Nostalgia. When you go back and you watch something when you were a little kid, it takes you back to that time. And maybe the movie sucks, but hopefully it doesn't. But if you watch something when you were 10 years old, it takes you instantly back, like time traveling. And it's awesome. And people pay big bucks for nostalgia, whether it's video games or trading cards or, whatever it is. And it's pretty awesome to do that. But I don't know, like it's just something about it that's really weird. And I'm not trying to retire when I'm 65. I'm trying to partially retire very soon. And then if I can take some time off, then I'll do that and then work a little bit or whatever, or try to work and then take some more, I'm trying to figure it out as we go. But it's just crazy. And, it's nice to have, because we all have some sort of craziness, whether it's our health or our wealth or our job or anxiety or whatever it is, that we try to make it through each day. And it can be stressful. And I don't have all the answers, but I do know that it gets better. Nothing lasts forever, even our problems. They eventually go away too. There's some resolution to it. So good and bad, nothing lasts forever. So be that in mind, enjoy what you can enjoy and have hopefully somewhat of a positive outlook on life. Because again, perception is reality. If you perceive everything as bad, then everything's going to be bad. And if you perceive everything great, then everything's going to be great. But I like a little bit of both. I like realism. I don't know if I'm a pessimist or optimist or whatever. I always like to say like I'm a realist, so it's kind of there too. So, Carol says, catch the podcast for Paradise. It's like Talking Dead. Interesting. Did you know Sterling? I'm married to Ryan in real life, who also stars on the show. Whew. Learning how to type left-handed is tedious. So, everything has a podcast. It's funny that you brought that up because they're like, catch the Paradise podcast, catch the Night of the Seven Kingdoms podcast, catch the podcast after this show. Like every show has a corresponding connecting podcast. So, Sterling is cool. I mean, Xavier is really cool. So that's cool that he's married. His wife is on there. So the big thing that so let me see actually who you're referencing, because if it's Oh yeah, Ryan Michelle. Okay. Yeah, that's man, it's so funny. It's and when I typed that in there, it says Sterling K. Brown defends Paradise's Xavier, introducing wife to his fling. So yeah, it's funny because when when he introduced his wife that he found his wife, but when he introduced him to the therapist, you're like, huh, that's a little tough. I wonder if he's ever going to tell her what happened. But then I'm like, don't do it, Xavier. Don't do it. Don't even open that can of worms, man. Just don't even have it. Just let it go. Just don't even do it, man. We'll have to see down the road if it ever comes up. SimbaFan94 says, I'm going to be 29 in 2 months. So that's great. 29, enjoy it, man. It's funny, I'm not even that old, but I'm, I guess considered middle-aged. I don't even know what middle-aged, the actual age ranges are, but I feel like it is. Because if it's 78 is the average life expectancy, it's probably a little less now for men. I mean, that's 39 is half my life, So I'm past that point. I'm past halfway there. So, but, an age is only a number. It's only reminding us how long we've been here for. But it's how you feel and what you're doing and where you're going is my opinion too. Like I like birthdays, I like celebrations, I like people get together and having people a reason to get together. But when people look at the two ends right there. Simba fan is going to turn 29 and Jamie says she's going to turn 60 in June. So it's April, May, June. So again, 2 months, like 2 months. In 2 months, someone's going to be 29 and someone's going to be 60. And that's great because both ends of the spectrum. But never stop learning, never stop growing, keep achieving and working on things. It's just amazing sometimes too. Like you can live in a house or an apartment or an area forever. And you can have things the certain way ever, like the sofa's the certain way, the chair's over there, the TV's there, this is there, whatever. And then you're like, you know what? I'm going to move this over there. And it just like changes everything because you're so used to that cabinet or that whatever it is, whatever the setup is. But you're like, huh. Then you move there, mix it up a little bit, changes things a little bit. Oh, I thought that was a good idea. And then all of a sudden something clicks. I'm going to throw this out, move this here. I've always wanted to put these. I'm going to put some shelving up or some racks or some cabinets or whatever. And you're like, man, this looks totally different in here now. And it's nice. It's a nice thing to do every now and again. But something happens there too, where maybe you always wanted to do it. I don't know. Everything's different. Yeah. See, I forget. I don't know if it was Negan that's usually in here with me, but I don't know if it was him or someone else that said, yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, and tomorrow is not given. You can go to bed tonight and wake up tomorrow feeling good, feeling bad, or unfortunately, not to say it's going to happen, but not waking up is not a given. So I always tell people. I was reading another thing about the regrets of the dying, and it was pretty cool to see the stuff that people were saying, and it fits the mold that I saw before. That it was the 5 regrets of the dying. That I wish I had the ability to be myself. I wish I didn't work so hard. I wish I kept in touch with friends. Stuff like that. Like those are the lines of what it is. And you can look it up and you can see the 5 regrets of the dying. And those are people that have died previously, years ago, whenever, that have felt these things. And it was enough people that said the same things that were there. And I always tell people, like, that's valuable information, but don't wait till you're then. And wait to the end, too. Like, there's also another picture that I was actually telling a patient, like, don't wait forever to do the stuff you want to do when you're older because you might not be able to do it. mind, body, and soul, you might not be able to do the things, right? Like there's this picture of these people in, is it Florence that has the water? Is it Italy that has the water where they have the gondolas? And someone took a picture of these elderly couple, and they are passed out asleep, like, totally asleep. And the gondola guy's laughing in the back for the picture because, like, they're on this beautiful thing and they're around, and they're supposed to enjoy the atmosphere on the water with each other, and it's romantic and it's nice, and it's probably something they wanted to do their whole life. And they're asleep because they're tired, and they're probably in their 70s or 80s or whatever. And when you get older, you get tired. And when you get older, you can't do as much. And when you get older, the last thing you want to do is to exert yourself sometimes. So get your body moving. Movement is medicine. It's good things to keep it moving and grooving. But the big thing is... Yeah, maybe. I don't. And hopefully they were awake for more of the gondola ride than the picture lets on. But, or maybe, I don't know, maybe it was set up for the photo. I don't know. But, I would assume that hopefully their experiences, like, imagine you're like, how was your trip? How was the gondola ride that you always wanted to do? Oh, it was something. Oh, I don't remember it. We did that? Yeah, you were asleep on it. Oh, crap, But it's just kind of funny. And just it proves the point to me that I'm like, I don't want to wait till I'm 75 years old to go to Hawaii or do all the things that I want to do to have a good time. One, I might not make it that far. I might not live to be that long. But if I do, then great, but I want to do it beforehand, and then I can look back at the great times and experiences on there as well. It was a thing on Facebook on YouTube that I watched about. There's a book that says like die with the zero balance or something. Die with zero. And the whole premise of the book, at least in the video, is them talking about is, you don't want to have all this money in the bank and not enjoy it and not have the experiences with your friends, your family, and yourself to look back on the memories. And they said a great thing about, making memories and having that be the experiences. Like it's, I forget what the term that they said, but it's like a memory dividend, or like a memory thing that you can cash in and remember it, and it's something that sticks with you, like interest in the bank, but it's like a memory interest, and it's an account that you have of memories. And it was kind of a cool way of thinking about it as like, I know money is important, and I know everything is there too. It pays for internet, it pays for streaming services, it pays your bills, it pays your mortgage, your taxes, your credit cards, your food. It's important, but it's also a tool. Like, what good is having bags full of cash or an account that has millions of dollars in it if you don't have your friends, if you don't have your family, if you don't have your experiences, if you never did anything with it? Now, I can't say, and I don't know how to have both, and that's the object I'm trying to have for the next rest of my life, is to make money but also enjoy money, to be with my friends and my family and my dad and everything, to do so I can look back on those great times and making those memories. But also, I'm not trying to live, so lavishly that I'm spending all my money because I can't pay my bills. But you have to have enough to pay your mortgage and your taxes and your property and your insurance and whatever it is, and your water bill and your electric bill. So, but having both of those aspects, being financially independent of life and being able to do that, is something I'm striving for, and will hopefully get there. But it was kind of cool to think of it as like making memories with people is a good goal too. And I told this before, and I said it before, and I say it to my patients all the time, is there's a study that was done, the true mark of happiness, and the true mark of happiness for people is not money. Because they talk to, and in their study and their experiment or their findings, is they talk to rich people, poor people, a bunch of things. And it came down to people. It came down to community. It came down to being around like-minded individuals that you enjoy seeing. And it didn't have to be a lot of people. It could have been one person. But that's where it's tough when you lose a friend or a spouse or whatever. You lose your best friend. You lose your people that, you do that, and then what do you do after that? Because being alone is terrible. And that's the whole thing was. So it was like community outreach, different areas, or bingo, or church, or the VFW, or American Legion, or whatever it is. People go there and hopefully have a good time and to be around people and to enjoy it, Tim says, I'm actually headed soon to do my will, which is good, which is smart, very good. Have that protected, look into a trust or a will or a this and where to put stuff for, taxes and money and safekeeping, and make sure it goes to the right people and not the state and the government or whatever. Make sure it stays in your family. Got to protect the homestead with my family, and at the same time protect the homestead from my family. Yeah, exactly. I haven't had a lot of experience with loss of people in my life. Just like it was a time there. I never went to a wedding, like ever. My parents got married, and then they had me, and then they got divorced, and then they got remarried, but I didn't go to my mom's wedding because I was like 10 years old and whatever. And then my dad got remarried when I was, so many years later. Like, I don't know what it was. Almost 20 years later. And then, friends from college got married, and friends from grad school got married, and then I was going to wedding, and then I was with my girlfriend, now wife, and she had friends that I went to their weddings, and then we got married, and then my friend got married, and then he got married, and it was all these weddings. And then I don't know who's left to get married, but I'm sure the wedding stuff is kind of done. And the same thing with, funerals. There was a funeral. I didn't have a funeral for a while, and then I went to my grandmother's funeral when I was 10 years old. It was my first funeral, and it was terrible, and it stayed with me forever, and it'll probably stay with me for the rest of my life. And then my Uncle Jimmy died, and then my grandfather died, and then I didn't go to funerals for a while, and then my grandparents died, and then certain people, and then you don't go to a funeral for a while, which is good because it's usually a terrible thing. And then I'm going to get to a certain point later on where my dad is in his mid-70s. My stepdad is the same age. My in-laws are in their 70s as well. And so, it's just, who knows? I lost my stuff's going to happen. And then after that, you have to worry about what people are going to do for the will, with the money, with the house, with the accounts, with this, with that. And hopefully it's spelled out very well in a will, that it's spelled out with, you're going to take things as, this is point blank period, zoom in, focus, there, that's it. There's no negotiating, there's no wheeling and dealing, it's this. You sell the house and you split it 2 ways, 3 ways, 4 ways, 10 ways, whatever. The accounts go to them, they go to this, whatever it is. It should be spelled out so you don't have to worry about it. And so I'm an only child, so my dad's accounts are going to go to me, but then that house, when his house needs to be sold and split between myself and my stepsister and her son. And so we got to do that, but I already know it's going in, which is fine. Yeah, you do. I will honor what is there. But some people won't. Some people would do this. Some people would do that. They would just wheel and deal, especially when money's involved. And hopefully it's a lot of money involved, but doubt it. It could be a couple $100,000, and it needs to be split between 5 people. Or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just the fact that people are going to try to take more. They're going to take. That's what everybody does nowadays. Take as much as they can. And you can see people, like when they go into stores, they don't care that they're holding up the line. They don't care that they're blocking people from getting in. They don't care. I don't care about other people, which is terrible, right? When I do that, I want to step out of the way. I do not want to inconvenience anyone. I want to be out of the way with it so I'm not causing any problems, you know? Simba says, I lost my mother in 2022 and it affected me so I can focus on my car to take my mind off it. Well, yeah, I mean, and that's a good point. Jeannie says some grief counseling is always a good thing. Someone to talk to about it. And, you know, everyone goes through the different processes of grieving differently at different speeds, different times, and some things you may never get over. And losing your mom, dad, whoever was close to you is tough. But you know, it's a part of life. Unfortunately, everything that's alive will eventually die, and we have a lifetime, whether they're young, old, super young, super old, whatever it is. It's a part of our life. It's a part of our cycle, and it never gets easy. It never is a good thing unless, you know, it's debatable for what it is, but it's never usually a good thing for what it is. But if someone's suffering, and you know how it goes. But the big thing is I'm glad everyone's doing well or is doing as well as you can. Definitely check out the Madison if you haven't. Check out Paradise for sure if you haven't. It'll be here in 2 weeks. I'm excited to talk about that. The Boys, the final season starts on Wednesday, which I'm very excited about that. You know, if you like documentaries and you got HBO Max, the bowling thing is interesting. You know, you get to find these people, and especially everyone. And when you think bowling, professional bowling, you don't think it's that entertaining. But there was a guy named Pete Weber, and it's kind of crazy. He's highlighted in one of the episodes. You might know who that is. If you look at him, you may remember him. But it's kind of interesting, and you know, it's just something I love learning something about people, and you know, whatever it is. So documentaries are always interesting too. You know, if you're going to watch the championship game on Monday, UConn versus Michigan, who do you got? I actually have 2 pools that are second chance pools, but I have one Michigan, one UConn. So either way, I'll have the winner, but I don't know. You know, it comes down to points, and you know, I'm in one pool. I'm like in 47,000th place, which I thought I did pretty good, but it's probably at a couple million people. So to finish in the couple of thousands, I'm not going to win any money with that. You got to probably finish in the top 5 spots, you know, which to have that. So we'll see how it goes down, but that's going to be done on, you know, Monday, and we'll see you there as well. But I thank you guys for taking the time to be here for this Easter Sunday. Be safe if you're traveling, you know. You know, I'm not a ham guy, so I'm definitely not going to have ham, but some people like ham, some people like turkey, some people have pasta, whatever you're like. You know, if you had an Easter egg hunt for the kids or whatever, that's always fun to see, and the little kids have a good time with it. You know, that's what it is, making memories when with your friends and family and kids and everything too. I think that's the good stuff looking back on there as well. But, you know, I talked about it in this live stream about having a escape from the world. And hopefully you can find that in a good positive way, whether it's exercise or writing or creating or dancing or swimming or sports or reading or, you know, movies or shows or whatever on there too. So Tim says, when I was married around here, bowling leagues was the thing. So yeah, I mean, I don't know that many bowling alleys now, but I mean, bowling used to be the thing for a lot of people. You know, growing up in New Jersey, the entertainment, if people want to be entertained, you know, and now you can do it from your house. You don't have to leave, but going to the movies, watching TV shows, watching movies at home, going to the beach or the shore or whatever, going to the mall, going bowling, going to play pool, you know, whatever, you know, a lot of different things. And doing all that. And nowadays, I think people just don't go to the mall. They don't go bowling. They don't go out in social things. I don't even know, you know, I would hope they still have bowling leagues. They still have certain things. So they have bowling lanes clearly still exist, and they have them around here, and there's a couple around me, and I know a couple of people that still bowl. And again, that's their sense of community, their people, their group, bowlers. And I started this documentary about bingo. And there was these people playing bingo in, I think it looked like it was it sounded like it was in Canada. But they go there. There's this one lady who goes there 6 days a week, and she can't go there Monday for some reason. And she hates that day because she can't go to bingo. But those are her people, and it's bingo. I don't know. It's gambling, it's this, it's community, it's something to do. But it's something, and they're people as well, too. So you get to have a good time, and being around like-minded individuals is always good. But thank you guys for being here for this hour on April 5th, 2026. Enjoy your Easter Sunday if you celebrate it. Enjoy the National Basketball men's game on Monday, and enjoy the women's game on, I guess it's Tuesday for them, but South Carolina, and I don't know is it UCLA, or I don't know who's the final game for that. But enjoy. If you're watching different shows, movies, I'll be back next Sunday to we'll talk about the boys for sure, because that comes back on Wednesday. The Pit will be a couple episodes in, and then anything else we watched. Thank you guys. I truly appreciate it. Happy Easter. And remember, guys, with hard work, dedication, belief, and sacrifice, you can truly achieve your goals. Keep working hard at it. Whatever it is, you can achieve it. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you later. See ya.